Okay, so I wanted to walk you through how to transform units according to goal math. That's what this is called, but it's kind of like problem solving when you use a rate because we're going to be comparing two units. So I wanted to look at this problem. Green peppers are on sale for $1.80 per pound. How much would 2.5 pounds of green peppers cost? So the first step would be to identify the units. Okay, so you know two quantities. We have pounds of peppers and the total cost per pound, right? And we want to figure out how much it's going to cost for 2.5 pounds. So we set up this ratio over here that it's kind of like a unit rate for the cost per pound. So do you see how we're comparing those two units? So it's $1.80 per pound. So we want to know the cost in the end. Because we want to know the cost, I want to put the money on top. We've talked about that generally we'll put the money on top because most of the time we would be looking for the cost. But I like to think that whatever I'm looking for in the end, that's the unit I want to have up on top. Okay, so the money unit. Okay, so $1.80 per 1 pound. Okay, and then the next step is we're going to determine the relationship. Really, all I would think is I'm going to take that rate, or we can call it a conversion factor, and we multiply it by the amount we want to know how much it will end up being. So we take our 180 from over here, our conversion factor, and we multiply it by 2.5, and we make sure we have the units. That's the key to this transform units thing, is that we have all of our units in our original problem. So here's my problem. So here's my conversion factor, conversion factor that I come up with from the two different units that I have, pounds, cost, okay? And then I'm going to solve for that. So I'm going to have, and it's just like multiplying a fraction. The only thing that's different is we have units that we have to pay attention to. So I have $1.80 over 1 pound times 2.5 pounds, and I put that over a 1 because we know when we multiply a whole number, we can just make it a fraction by putting a 1, and then we multiply straight across, right? But I want you to notice that sometimes we have done that cross simplification when we have done multiplication of fractions before. Well, we're going to do that with our units. We have a unit on top that's the same as a unit on bottom. We're going to get rid of those right away. And now my pounds are gone, and I'm left with just the cost. So then I'm going to do 1.8. I don't even have to do $1.80. I can get rid of that 0 when I do my math. 1.8 times 2.5. And I get $4.50. So if you look, I have nothing else left. The pounds went away because I was able to cross simplify them out. I was able to simplify them out. Just like we do with, like if something's both multiplied by 2 or both multiplied by 5, we can do that with our units as well. And that's the big thing for today to pay attention to. So here's my final cost, okay? For 2.5 pounds of green peppers, it's gonna cost me $4.50. Okay, so let's try some down here. And I'm going to follow this the best I can, but I might do little things different. So we'll see. Okay, if 2 bags of cherries costs $5.50. Okay, there's a key here. 2 bags, and the cost is $5.50 for 2 bags. How much is 7 bags going to cost? Well, in this case, I actually do need to find the unit rate first. Okay, so that's why I was saying I'm probably not going to use their questions. I'm going to put a sticky note over this and work it out. Okay, so I got to figure out the unit cost, the unit price of this first, the unit rate, which we know how to do. So I'm going to do that using old skills we know how to do. 2 bags, okay? And remember, I want to know what 1 bag is, okay? So remember we learned that we would divide by 2 to get 1 and divide by 2. So dividing $5.50 by 2, we're going to get, so let's see, half of 5 is $2.50, and I'm going to add a quarter to that from the 50 cents that I have left. So I'm going to have $2.75. Does that sound good? So I'm going to think in my head, 75 cents and 75 cents gives me $1.50. $1.50 plus the 4 with the 2 getting together gives me $5.50. Yep, I did it. Just wanted to clarify my thinking. Okay, I'm going to use this information then to find my 7 bags. Because in the end, I want that. Now remember, cost is what I'm looking for, so I'm going to put that on top. I'm going to use my unit rate. $2.75 over 1 bag. And I'm going to multiply it by 7 bags. Okay, same thing as we did before. So that I can multiply, I'm going to put a 1, and I'm going to get rid of the bags because I no longer need to know anything about bags. Does that make sense? So now I have to multiply 275 times 7. And, you know, if you guys see this right off the bat, like, oh, I have to find the unit rate and then I just multiply, that's totally cool. I just want you to know the steps, okay? So I'm going to take that $2.75 and multiply it by 7. 35, 3, 49.51. Nope, 52. Whew, good thing I thought about that again. And 19. Okay, so the cost for 7 bags is $19.25. Granted, I hope I did my math right, so just kidding. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. This one has something to do with area, so I'm glad we're going to look at this one. Area is just a multiplication problem, right? The length times the width of a room, of a rug, of anything. Okay, so the area of a living room is 24 square yards. Okay, so I have yards. If the width is 12 feet, what is the length of the living room in yards? Okay, so I want to finish my answer in yards, so I've got to figure that out first. The area of the living room is 24 square feet. So if I want to make sure, I'm going to think about this. The whole area equals 24 feet. And I like to do feet squared like that, but yards. My bad. Let me fix that. Yards. Okay? Even though it says square yards, that's the same thing as yards squared. Maybe you already knew that. Now, it does tell me the width is 12 feet. So what I might need to do first, this is what I would do, is can I just find out how many yards 12 feet would be? And we know that 3 feet equals 1 yard. So I'm just going to transform this right now. See how this one's a little bit different than that one. So my 12 feet, I can write that. I can do, I can multiply this. I'll use kind of the same way we did before. I could do it like this, where I say, 1 yard equals 3 feet. Now look, I have that same idea where I'm going to cross out those feet, and then what I have is 12 divided by 3, which then gives me 4, and remember I have this unit left, yards. So now I'm going to think of my width as, I'm going to actually move this right over here and put 4 yards, because those two things are equal to each other, right? 12 feet is the same thing as 4 yards. Now I can see, and I'm not sure if you can see my math, sorry about that, I can just divide, I know the area is length times width, right? So if area is length times width, and I know that the area is 24 yards squared, and I know that I don't know my length, but I do know my width is 4 yards. Something here has to be by yards, right? Because I have squared yards. And I know that 4 times 6 gives me 24. So my answer is 6 yards. Do you see how the squared would go away? Because I have to have 2 yards here. If I divided, I'm going to write this up here. If I took that 24 yards squared and divided it by 4 yards, just 4 yards, I'm going to be getting rid of this yards, like simplifying, right? And then simplifying one of these yards, leaving me just the 6 yards. Okay, I hope this makes sense. And I'll send this video to you, and then there's also going to be a link for some practice pages. Okay, have an awesome day. I'm glad you're tuning in and taking care of your education. All right, I'll see you guys. Okay, I guess I won't see you guys soon. I'll see you guys after Christmas.